Hi, hello. My name is Gomer Joseph. I hope you've all been having a great day so far. Welcome back to another True Crime Tuesdays video. If you are new, I welcome you. Before I discuss today's case, I'd like to mention my Christian suspense book series, which is Never as It Seems. The first book in the series is available on Amazon, and you can read it on any device on the Kindle app for free. And if reading really isn't your thing, then no worries. There is a Never as It Seems weekly podcast, which posts new episodes every Friday if you love audiobooks or podcasts. Not only that, but I do have another book series, which is the Juliet Clark book series, which is about a Haitian American teen sleuth who happens to be a successful true crime YouTuber. The first book in this series is titled Murderer at Heart. So if you're interested, the links will be in the description box below. Today, I'll be discussing the unsolved murder of Phylicia Barnes. And I do use the word unsolved pretty loosely. As I researched this case, I was so baffled by how everything turned out. It was almost like Phylicia received, well, that she almost received. It seemed like she almost received the justice that she deserved, but because of carelessness, that form of justice was slipped away. This case is something almost like something I've never really seen before. It was pretty much, sadly, it just turned out to be this unmanaged circus. It's very shocking and absolutely frustrating. Sadly, I'm sure that you all would be frustrated by the end of this video as well. Now, I encourage you all to do your own research with this case and not to just look at my video for all of the information. Here we go. Phylicia Barnes was born on January 12, 1994 in Monroe, North Carolina, to parents Russell Barnes and Janice Salas. I do know that she had an older sister named Dina who she pretty much looked up to. Phylicia was described as a girl who lit up a room, had a strong faith. She was described as a hard worker. She even made it to, the honor roll. She was an honor student, and she was just a beautiful soul. On December 28th of 2010, Phylicia is 16 years old at this point, and she was visiting her older sister Dina in Baltimore, Maryland. So Dina, she is going to work, and Phylicia is left in the apartment. But Dina did not expect that when she last saw Phylicia at the apartment before leaving for work, she didn't realize that that would be the last time she would ever see Phylicia alive again. When Dina arrived, all of Phylicia items were there, but Phylicia was nowhere to be found. And Dina, she's confused by this and a bit concerned, so she explains how she constantly called Phylicia's number, but there was no answer. At first, she did post information on Facebook about Phylicia's disappearance, then eventually called the police. That same night, Dina has this ex-boyfriend named Michael Johnson who called out sick from work and decided to pretty much be out of reach and, pretty much went to be by himself. It was explained how that earlier on in the day when Phylicia disappeared, he was moving his stuff out of Dina's apartment, even pulling out a 35-pound plastic tub out of Dina's apartment. When a neighbor asked for help, seeing how much Michael was struggling to get this heavy plastic tub out of the apartment, Michael denied the help. Now, here's the thing, I understand being stubborn. I can definitely be stubborn, but at least for me personally, when it comes to hard labor, best believe I'm just gonna go ahead and swallow my pride and ask for help. Praise the Lord, Michael and I are two completely different people. So I can't just say for sure that every stubborn person will accept help every now and then, no matter how hard the task may be. Dina eventually reached her ex and told Michael about Phylicia's disappearance. He told Dina that this wasn't good, and obviously it's not good. A 16-year-old is nowhere to be found. But he said it's not good, especially since he was the last person who saw Phylicia, which Dina said that she saw as something which was very strange. Of course, the rest of the family is informed that Phylicia is missing, and of course, they are worried, and there is just this huge search for Phylicia for months. And 4 months after Phylicia vanished, the family's worst nightmare came true. In the early morning of April 20th, 2011, workers found a body floating with no clothes in the Susquehanna River. Eventually, it was discovered that this body belonged to Phylicia Barnes. And something else that's very eerie about this discovery, another body was found nearby of a grown man, but it was determined not to be connected to Phylicia's case. Once Phylicia's body is recovered, of course, her family is obviously devastated. Like, they were searching months for Phylicia, hoping that this young girl would be found safe and would come back home to them. But sadly, they found her body, but her being, her soul, is lost to them forever. Now, an autopsy is done, and after the autopsy is done, Phylicia's death is ruled a homicide. So this turns into a murder investigation. Since this is a murder investigation, specific eyes began to fall on Michael Johnson. Police discovered that Johnson made Phylicia uncomfortable at some point and texted and called her 500 times. When you're not dating this girl's sister anymore and you're like 12 years older than she is, then why are you texting this young girl so many times? Not only that, but it's just very weird how the plastic tub was not recovered. Like, he was moving out of his place, or not his place, but he was moving out of Dina's place into another place. But, why would this plastic tub just magically disappear after Phylicia's body is discovered? Police found other things, quote unquote, that made Johnson look suspicious and eventually arrested him on April 25th, 2012, charging him with Phylicia's murder. A couple of days later at the hearing, prosecutors had stated that they believed that Johnson strangled Phylicia, then placed her body inside of that plastic tub, which, of course, is still nowhere to be found. And of course, there is a trial. And at this trial, Dina stated that Johnson would give Phylicia alcohol and would try to make advances towards her. Now, don't try to see me as attacking Phylicia's older sister, but I was just wondering, like, why would you let your boyfriend give your underage younger sister alcohol? Like, you state how this is a problem in the court, but why would you not? I mean, unless she did, I don't know. But it just kind of sounded like she just wouldn't speak up about, her boyfriend handing alcohol to her underage sister. Another key aspect of the trial is when a man named James McCrae, who was an inmate, claimed that Johnson called him because I would assume that before James was in jail and everything, he and Johnson knew each other. So James claimed that Johnson called him to the apartment to help dispose of Phylicia's body. As for Johnson's lawyer, he stated how there was no DNA evidence pointing him to the crime. But here's the thing. Most murderers who try to get away with murder don't usually want to leave their DNA around. But I'm just going to go ahead and let the lawyer do their job. After hearing what needed to be said in the court, the jury eventually did find Johnson guilty. Now, everyone thinks that justice is about to be served. Johnson is about to be sentenced until the unexpected occurs. Because the state didn't turn in all of the information they needed to give, I don't know what all of the information is, but they needed to give it in court. So James's testimony was thrown out the window, and Johnson was no longer declared a guilty man. Now, of course, the family was devastated at how things turned out and how careless things became, because it looked like they're about to go ahead and get justice for Phylicia, but these inconveniences really keep them from getting the justice that they were hoping for. Now there is a retrial, and the prosecution shows a shocking, really disgusting video that even the description of it just really makes my stomach turn. This is a sex tape. Now prepare yourselves, everybody. The details of this sex tape is, if you don't know anything about this case, it's really gonna go ahead and give you some shockwaves, because this sex tape shows Johnson, his brother, and I don't understand, like, why would you want to get into a sex tape with your family member, but this is what it's showing. So Johnson, his brother, Phylicia, and Phylicia's older sister, Dina. When I heard about this, I was absolutely disgusted. So not only do you expose your underage sister to this creepy man and his sicko brother trying to create this fantasy of Family Matters, this sex tape edition, you then proceed to have an orgy with your underage sister. Like, that is so disgusting. And that is just absolutely wicked. There is no excuse for that type of behavior. And as I heard about this information, like, it just really made me question, like, did Michael, his brother, and Dina at least get arrested for this video? Like, from what I gathered, it didn't seem like any of them got in trouble for being involved in a sex tape with an underage girl. Like, Phylicia was 16. All of them were grown adults. Like, make it make sense how none of them at least went to jail, got some fine, or got into legal trouble for that. And this action pretty much desecrated this young girl's memory. The retrial gets even messier. Some video is played that wasn't supposed to be shown, and the jury can't weigh in. So the judge says, you know what? This trial is a wretched mess. I don't got time for this. Johnson, you can bounce. That's pretty much basically what the judge said. Because the retrial was a mess, there had to be another trial. So overall, the judge still told Johnson that he could be free to roam the streets since there was no evidence the prosecution could give. I usually don't speak for everyone, but I would speak for everyone by saying that whoever was the prosecutor needs to be fired. I hope they were fired. Phylicia deserved so much more. Sadly, in the last days of her life, she was basically let down by the people she trusted and were supposed to guide her. Even in death, the adults that were supposed to make sure that she received justice were absolutely careless. Since Johnson's a free man who's also obviously a pervert, her case is technically, legally, still unsolved. and I'm pretty sure that he can't be retried for this because he was already found not guilty for her murder. Still, I do pray for justice. And the God that I serve, the God of the Bible, is a God of justice, and he will make sure that justice is served, even if justice is not accomplished on this earth. I thank you all for taking the time in the day to watch this video. If you did like this video, please feel free to hit the like button. If you have any thoughts on this case at all, please leave your thoughts in the comments section. If you'd like to see more videos from me, please feel free to subscribe and click the bell to be notified about the next video. If there's a certain true crime case that you'd like me to cover, go ahead and let me know. I will see y'all for next True Crime Tuesdays, and I will talk to y'all later.